Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to the Free Skate. It's been a little while again. We today are going to cover the Kamila Valieva court ruling and kind of go through the transcript from the documents a little bit, and I'm going to give you my opinion on that. So, update with myself. So, I've been holding off on doing this because honestly, I haven't had a ton of time. I've been training for the provincial skating championships, and that was today. It went as okay as I guess to be expected. I mean, really, today my skate on the ice was the first time that I have actually skated the full program with every single element in it. So the fact that I actually got through it and actually didn't make myself look ridiculous is a feat to begin with. So I'm happy with it. And I am now the Manitoba provincial champion for adult gold. Yay. So that was fun. Hopefully I will be doing some more events coming next skating season. I'm going to have the same program, and I'm going to go, obviously train really hard and up the ante and a lot of things. And going into next year, I'll be really comfortable with it. So it should be fun. Possibly I might be entering the adult competition in Calgary in September, but we will see. I don't actually know. So anyways, let's start with the background. Obviously, everybody knows here at the 2022 Olympics, Valieva had a test that was found positive for trace amounts of an illegal substance. The reasonings that they had given were, to do with her grandfather and how he has heart medicine, and she might have been drinking from the same water glass that he used, etc., etc. Valieva's mother submitted a video with Grandpa in the car. He had a package of medication. They testified that he took this occasionally while having his attacks, in quotation marks. Grandpa drives her to and from practice and waits in her car for her. They later changed the story to the grandfather actually used a chopping board to crush a pill of TMZ that he allegedly takes for his heart condition, although there's no prescription or anything for this medication. So there's no proof that he even is actually on it. Like, they were holding a pill that apparently was that in the car or something like that. But I mean, it's a little ridiculous because that medication is over the counter in Russia. You don't actually need a prescription for it, so it's very readily available. And can I clarify also too, the grandfather actually is not her grandfather. This is Valieva's mother's ex's father. So this is not a paternal grandfather. So I think they have a close relationship, but by blood, it is not grandfather. Anyways, so he apparently took a chopping board to crush the pill of TMZ that he allegedly takes for his heart condition, and they said that residue could have ended up in a wonderful, tasty strawberry dessert that he made for Valieva ahead of the Russian National Championships in late 2021. I mean, the fact that you'd even be allowed to have a strawberry dessert is enough question for me. Never mind that, grandfather has his heart medication pills that he happened to forgot he crushed on the same board and made the strawberry. Like the story is just so, it gets so ridiculous. And they also had to change the story to, there was a lot of what if, because there was no factual substance to any story that they had before, and they already disregarded the first story with him in the car, and because the timing of everything wasn't really believable, I guess. So Valieva, protected persons, she was 15 at the time, was responsible for proving that she did not take... Oh, my dog's whining. Hold on, I gotta let him out. Sorry, guys. There's very inconvenient. My goodness. It's like snow raining outside, too. So what I don't like about this case is she was a protected person, but she, as the athlete, bears responsibility to prove that she was not taking this stuff as like a regime, or like how it happened by accident, etc. So my only problem with this is, like, I understand at the athlete, like as an athlete, you need to be aware, and there should be education for athletes, especially if you're at that caliber of an Olympic skater. Like, you obviously need to know. However, like, she's a minor. She's 15. She is a child. Whatever the adults are giving her, she's going to trust, because they are around her and they are doing. They are taking care of her, and she's trusting that they are going to do the proper things. Now, it's tough for us on the outside looking in, like, we see a billion red flags. But when you're in that system and you're in their bubble, like, it's kind of like you're gaslighted so much, you're just going to believe anything they actually say. So I don't really like that they're leaving it solely up to Valieva to prove, and also as she's so young, and we all know that the camps in Russia give medications and food and all, like, to their athletes. Where's the adults that are responsible for this? I have a big problem with everything, being shoved on Valieva like this. She is a fantastic skater, and she's 15 years old. And there's a lot of adults that have done her wrong and done her irreparable harm. Russia keeps on talking about everyone else doing irreparable harm because they took her glory away for the Olympics, and it can only come once in a lifetime, and this and this. You guys need to look in the mirror. Like, you did that yourself. This is your fault. Should Valieva have been banned and taken out of the competition and disqualified? Absolutely. But where's the repercussions for the adults? I fear that there is not going to be any, and there's going to be a blindsided look, especially after all of the doping issues that Russia has had in the past with the Olympics and in Sochi. I'm shocked that there isn't some really large investigation going on. We also, too, Russia's not skating because of the war. Not the doping thing. Like, to me, honestly, it should be the other way around. You have a greater sporting problem that impacts the sport directly with federations who cheat. Blatantly cheat. Not like a little oopsie, here we go, like, oops, my bad. Like, total government-sponsored, statewide doping mess. So, anyways, on the contrary, the athlete... I'm losing my spot here. I went on a tangent when I wasn't supposed to. Okay, so the position of these experts that have analyzed their responses in Russia, they said, in essence, that a concentration in the athlete sample was compatible with contamination, the amount that was found. The athlete sample had, I think, 2 point something in it, and I think a full dose was like way more. But it was in... It was compatible also with contamination, but also the excretion period after a full dose of trimethazine. So it could be either or. On the contrary, the athlete failed to provide evidence. The explanations, there is no independent and or documentary evidence that the athlete's grandfather even used TMZ on a regular basis, or for what. There is, without limitation, no proof of purchase, no underlying medical records, no prescriptions. Second, there is no scientific evidence as to whether the specifics of the Advanced Analytical Findings, or AAF, in particular the concentration of TMZ, are compatible with the athlete's explanation of the accidental exposure. So that's why the her statements were found invalid. The mount in Valieva originally was said to be the amount found in Valieva originally was said to be probably as being 4 to 5 days after a full dose was used, because the amount found would have been untraceable if taken otherwise, unless it was immediately taken before the drug test, because it was such a minute amount. And that's not when she had the dessert. So none of those stories added up. The theory of the grandfather's contamination is nullified. Valieva's counsel tried to prove that the amount found was not enough to make a difference in an athlete's body. So, but basically what they were saying is this amount was so small that it's not going to make any difference in the athlete's body. Okay, however, if you have been taking this substance for a while and have gotten away with it because your timing is so exact, it is going to make a difference, because this substance actually makes your muscles recover much faster because it uses the oxygen more efficiently, and it gives you longevity when you're already doing physical things. So essentially, if you are training 6 weeks before an event and then 2 weeks before an event you stop, and you're using this drug, you're essentially getting 12 weeks, 16 weeks of training worth of your body in only 6 weeks, because you are able to do that much more all the time. The ROC says also the delay in testing was detrimental to the case, and that it broke their own rules of testing the samples within 20 days. Okay, but let's be real. Why is the testing delayed? Also, there's no rules that say that it has to be within 20 days. It's recommended that the testing is within 40 days and not mandatory. It is in with an acceptable range of other tests of other athletes across WADA certified labs. The dates are the same as everyone else, so there's no detriment to it at all. There was also talk about the ROC having an issue with the amount of time that Valieva had to provide evidence, and I think that's why they got extensions, etc. But they were complaining that she needed more time to gather evidence. Well, yeah, I guess I need more time to get better stories, because the stories you came up with sucked. So I don't know what evidence you're going to come up with. I guess you're going to hire a Hollywood actor or a Hollywood scriptwriter to maybe tell a new story. So allegedly, Valieva was diagnosed by a doctor in Russia with, quote, athlete's heart, and was prescribed hypoxin, and was also used during competition periods. Okay, first of all, I don't even know what athlete's heart is. I don't think it's an actual medical condition. I think athlete's heart is just like what happens when your body is growing and you're an athlete. Like, I think it's like a thing with like everybody. It's quite normal for somebody to have athlete's heart. You just kind of grow out of it. Like, I don't think it's something that you would ever have to have something prescribed for or anything like that. But so hypoxin is as follows. Hypoxin also increases the level of endurance and reduces fatigue by optimizing the process of tissue respiration, to normalize the pulse, and to keep it in the optimal safe zone in case of physical overstrain, to reduce fatigue after physical exertion. Hypoxin seems to only be sold online and not from pharmacies, nor is a bill available for prescription. It is also generally only sold by Russian websites. So this is a Russian drug that was probably made specifically for these type of things. So the fact that they're even allowed to use something like this is actually a little bit surprising. I think they need to kind of investigate that. Again, if you're taking that all the time, like, honestly, like, I may as well order that off Amazon or from some Russian website and get it here. Like, I might train better. In my next competition, I might make it through my program without dying. So, Rusada had an interview with Mr. Solovyov, which is the grandfather. he had, quote, high blood pressure, 190 over 100 at the end of February 2021. Went to the hospital, but is now discharged. So he said he needed a little time to recover before he can speak with USADA. So he actually didn't really speak with them because his poor heart and his blood pressure was just so extreme. Like, I guess, I don't know what had happened to his TMZ. I guess he didn't have it at that time. So apparently he has had a heart disease for more than 20 years. He's monitored by doctors and has had heart surgery. He lives separately, and he was not interested in which medications he was taking. Once it was known that TMZ was found in Miss Valieva's system, she clarified with Mr. Sloviev that that's what he was taking. So, like, even that, his quotation was not interested in what medications you're taking. How are you not interested in what you're putting in your own body as an adult? You don't know what medications you're on? Like, does your doctor not tell you what things are or explain what things are? I know sometimes, people take a lot of medications and they get confused, but, like, to just put out a statement saying, I don't care what kind of medications I have, is like, honestly, don't even talk at that point. Just say, you know what? I'm not mentally available to discuss this topic. The end. That's it. That's all you could have said. The fact that you're saying more of this stuff is actually worse for you because you sound completely guilty. So, looking at Valieva's things, disclose of things that she had in her body or has been taking. I shouldn't say it, I don't think all of these things were in her body at the time, but this is the stuff that she has taken in the last year by the FMBA, which is the Federal Medical Biology Agency of Russia. 61 plus items that she has been taking. So I took the liberty of looking up many of these things because I didn't know what a lot of these things are, and I found some of them to be very questionable, and I'm just concerned as a 15-year-old, there is no way that you need to be on or take that many things throughout an entire year. Like, I understand, multivitamins and different things and supplements. Yeah, okay, sure. Everyone does that. But you're taking 61 things and many of them do the exact same thing. So you're either doubling up or you are switching your body to different versions of the same thing, so maybe you don't get addicted to it. I'm not entirely sure. So anyways, let's go through some of these things. So Panangin Forte, used to treat various cardiovascular diseases like heart failure and myocarditis. Why? She doesn't have a heart problem, so why are you giving her that? So what? The cardiovascular disease and the heart failure and myocarditis medication must do something to your heart and muscles to make it more efficient, is what I'm assuming. Stimol or Stimol, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. The main ingredient of that is L-carnitin. It is used to relieve muscle fatigue. Ibuclin is used to treat sore muscles, cold and flu symptoms, etc. Many other things too are joint and muscle care supplements that generally could be used by people. However, like all of these things together is incredibly eccentric to be using, especially in such a young person. Bilactin was used too, which is a Russian supplement meant for people going to extreme elevation changes, like mountain climbers. It lets the muscles adapt to change without losing competency during physical exertion, in more specifically high altitude situations and elevation. So you are literally taking something that is making you train better. I don't know if there's anyone in North America or Europe, frankly, except for Russia, that is actually taking things like this. I would actually love to know if there is somebody, or if there are athletes, if anyone's listening, like, seriously, DM me thefreeskate@gmail.com, if you take stuff like this, because I just have a feeling that that's not good. To pronounce this, Flitrum STI is used to rid the body of toxins, drugs, poisons, etc. Okay, well, that's a big red flag. That could be used for two things. One, you're detoxing, okay, sure, cleansing your body, or are you maybe ridding things that they've given you? I would like to know the explanation and scientific explanation of an independent counsel why a 15-year-old would be taking that if you are not overdosing on drugs or like doing harmful things. She was taking two different iron deficiency drugs, cytolavin, which gives cells energy, promotes blood circulation, and another drug that's basically an antiviral protection for lungs, and enhances antibody formation with bone marrow, stem cell production, amongst other things. Imidone, another drug that prevents disease of respiratory tract. COQ10, which is not recommended in children under 18 unless approved by a doctor. It can improve heart health, blood sugar, and in patients with diabetes. Again, Valieva does not have any of these conditions. Why is a doctor recommending that for her? By doctor, I mean probably the Dr. Philip, whatever his name is. Sorry, we can't think of his Shvetsky. Sorry. On also too, and this also, like, don't even talk, because Tutbretse was asked about this. She does not involve herself in knowing what the athletes were taking, nor did not consult doctors. Terry, this is your camp. You have a team doctor. How are you not informed on what the girls are taking? Like, red flag number 8,000. Ridiculous. I can understand her maybe not having involvement in administering things or whatever, but like, you should know what your athletes are taking if it's from your team doctor. I just think there's a lot of like gaslighting going on, especially when Russia was saying that TMZ has no effects on figure skaters and it's irrelevant. Well, that's simply not true. I mean, remember the 3-drug cocktail from the Olympics? That was their magic potion. I mean, they know what they're doing. This is the same guy that was involved in that. They know what they're doing. And for them to be like appealing, like Russia's appealing the situations with the CAS because they don't agree with it. I mean, Canada's appealing because the situation is obviously ridiculous and they should be moved up to win a medal. Russia should be disqualified. And here, Russia's appealing that they should keep their gold medal. Like, I don't understand. Like, the amount of gaslighting that they do is sickening. I think they actually think we're that dumb that we actually believe what they're saying. I don't know. It's ridiculous. Okay, so the first version was that the story of Valieva. The first version we have here happened at lunch with her grandfather on training day. She says, "Yes, we had lunch. Grandfather also often gave me something like an apple puree or a berry sweet made from berries, condensed milk, bananas, and some juice, and maybe other things. He also takes pills following the doctor's recommendations, although there was no doctor prescription or any doctor recommending it or vouching for him. So I don't know where that recommendation is. So this pill probably got into the dessert, which he usually gives me, accidentally, because he crushed the pill with a knife and dissolves them in a glass and took them. So I might have drank from the same glass or used the same chopping board and so on. But they're not sure what happened. It just may have happened like that, right? The second version is the contamination of some medications, as this has happened before. Those situations arose, and that is why they could not be excluded. The third version in St. Petersburg, in comparison with an organization of other events in Sochi or the Olympic Games, the narrative during the Russian Championships in St. Petersburg was not really good, as the premises where the athletes were coming in, warming up, and generally getting ready for a start were so full of strangers who definitely should not have been there. Bad, naughty, naughty. So there were a lot of relatives of athletes who were freely moving around and had free access to the dressing rooms, as well as the area where athletes were eating. Mother's friend also got an accreditation. However, I cannot say that she is somehow relevant to the sport, but she still got accreditation. With high level access, she could get to those areas. So essentially she's saying sabotage. Like, the third reason she's saying, like, people are throwing drugs around the skaters, and that's how they're, like, getting overdosed. Like, I mean, come on, you guys. This is the stupidest thing. If you're going to say crap like that, like, just don't talk. This whole situation is just... It's just sickening. You have, a nation like Canada and United States and Japan who, I mean, obviously every nation is, involved in doping at some time. But you have Russia that is far more than any other nation that... Also, too, you're, like, bringing out girls doing quads when they're, like, 12, 13, 14, which is, like... It's, like, not a thing. Like, there's no way that you have a roster of girls just spinning out quads and they're just prodigy after prodigy after prodigy after prodigy after prodigy. No, I get it. If there's, like, a prodigy and it's a one-time thing and there's, like, this amazing person and, like, whatever, like, Ilya Malinin. I mean, really, how many people are we going to see coming out doing quad axles and quintuple attempts in the future? Like, I don't think that's where the sport is headed in the Olympics, where you're going to have to do quints to, like, win in quad axles. Like, honestly, probably not. I don't think the sport is headed either in women's, where you're going to have rosters of 12-year-old, 13-year-old, 14-year-old girls doing 4 or 5 quads in a program either to win Olympics. Like, it's not going to happen. You know how strong your body has to be to do that? And... biologically, humans, in my opinion, aren't even widely capable of doing stuff like that on a consistent basis. Like, America, okay, Alyssa Liu, she does her quads and whatever. Yeah, okay, great. That's a skater. That's one. This isn't a train of American skaters coming up, like... that every time, somebody gets hurt, there's just magically somebody new that can do quads too. I mean, it's crazy. I don't understand how there's not more investigation and more overhead seeing the operations. And I guess it's tough to, like, I don't know how we do that, as in, how does somebody independent go into Russia and, like, overwatch them? I don't think you can. But until that happens, I don't see this changing. I don't think they should be allowed back in competition based on the drugs. If the war were to end tomorrow, I still think there needs to be, like, a serious shakedown of what federation, like, what the Russian Federation is allowed to put forward, the camps, the doctors, etc., how they get accredited, how they choose their team, like, etc. But the whole system is broken in Russia because it's also, too, it's government sponsored. Like, the government is in control of the skating federation. Skate Canada, Skate America, the Japan Skating Federation, etc. The government does not control any of that. They might supply funding over, certain things, but I mean, the government doesn't oversee their operations. In Russia, essentially, the government is seeing over the operations. I mean, it's insane. So here we have Canada, who has the chance to move up to a bronze medal in the Olympics in the team event. and has not yet, because they are not disqualifying the Russian team. They are only disqualifying the results for Valieva's points, but they are not moving up the skaters for the placements. So, like, don't you think it's customary for anyone to move skaters up based on, like, what the standings are? So, like, there's going to be no first place finisher for the women's. So the countries are just keeping their original points. Russia lost their points, but nobody moves up, which I think is wild. At least in the women's event, if you're not going to disqualify Russia, like, it just feels like they have worked it so Russia still gets to keep a medal. But that's still not good enough for them, because Russia wants gold. They don't want bronze. So it's just a whole bunch. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens. Skate Canada has appealed the situation. They have been very quiet about it. If I were Skate Canada, I mean, my big mouth would have been yapping a long time ago. I'd be so vocal about this, because the stuff that they are doing with this case is just ridiculous. It's not fair to any athletes. It's not even fair to their own athletes, to be honest with you, especially the clean ones. I believe in Russia there are clean camps. And I think those primarily are the camps that don't finish top of the podium. I mean, let's be real. It's pretty much the same person coming up with prodigies and the medalists in Russia. Like, obviously, it's a Terry. Sometimes there might be somebody else with someone, but I mean, how often is that? It's a Terry. Maybe a Plashenko, and then maybe, like, some other one somewhere else. Like, is that not a red flag to you? Like, to me, it's like a giant red flag, but they obviously don't care. The system has worked where that is obviously their favorite camp. They have got a system where they have gotten away with hiring a sketchy doctor that is a brilliant scientist in probably chemistry or something like that to mix all these things together so exact that it is not detectable in most tests. And I don't think it's fair to the other athletes, because I think a lot of Russian athletes probably are clean, and they probably are getting the butt end of the stick because they're not going to have a chance to actually compete fairly. So I don't know what's going to happen from here. I think, we're just going to have to wait to see what happens when things are appealed. I don't know what kind of pressure the ICU is going to be under, because they seem to be still at Russia's beck and call with the way they have done the decision. It's just very odd that you would not reallocate the points and move up skaters in any other event. I mean, 900 times out of 901 times, the teams would move up into the proper spot. I don't know exactly what all the rules are with the Olympics and how that is supposed to work. I don't know if they found a loophole or what, but in general, if there's a team that gets disqualified or a person on a team gets disqualified, the whole team gets disqualified. And or at least somebody is going to have the people move up in the group where the group got disqualified in that part. In this case, the women. I think this case is going to drag on. Who knows when it's going to end? And also, too, I don't know when United States is going to get their medals. I know they were talking a few different times to do it, whether it's going to be the Summer Olympics or wait till the next Winter Olympics or the World Championships. Probably won't be the World Championships. I did hear a lot of the athletes on social media and different interviews saying that they were looking for the Paris Olympics. That's probably the most likely to happen as it's an Olympics and it's right around the corner. I think waiting till the next Winter Olympics is just honestly like don't even bother doing it at that time because it's just so far away. To do a Winter Olympic medal ceremony at Summer Olympics, I think is not the most ideal, but probably the most ideal in the options that are available. And really, honestly, I don't know if a lot of Summer Olympic fans know a ton about this situation that is going on. So maybe it might shed light onto this situation and might prod more pressure for investigations to see what has actually gone on. Being put on a spotlight and maybe covering that story may do something positive for the sport. I don't actually know. Well, anyways, if you guys have any feedback to give me or any comments, thefreeskate@gmail.com or on YouTube, you can leave a comment under. You can also please subscribe to the Apple Podcasts or on Podbean, The Free Skate. Give me a rating, please. And subscribe to me and share with your friends, share it on your social media. And I anticipate doing another podcast in about a week or two. I would like to finish reading my book that I got from the guy who was actually involved in the whole doping scandal, the one under witness protection right now in the United States. Super interested to read that. So I hope that's coming up. The next event for the figure skating is the World Championships in Montreal, which, oh, by the way, you guys, come on, Skate Canada. Again, missed the boat. Ticketing. There's like no tickets sold. There's a few thousand maybe. But they're so expensive. Like, it's so... Like, what are they doing? It's like $300 something for a ticket for an event. How are you taking a family to that? You're supposed to have a family-friendly sport. You want to bring people in and be interested in the sport in North America? Then make it family affordable. Have the Me+3 deals. Have children with paying adults free under 12. Have maybe, I don't know, $20 children. You guys have 21,000 seats in the arena in Montreal. You have 3 or 4 levels to use. Like, use them. You don't have to put the families in the second row in the center. If you want to leave those tickets expensive for people that want to pay it, fine, go for it. But you need to have at least affordable seats for families and like friends to go. Nobody is. It's so unaffordable to travel and pay that much money unless you make like $200,000 a year. I live in Canada and there's no way that I could afford to go to this event, and I don't even have kids. And I make a half decent wage. Yet I still can't even afford to go. That's ridiculous. Skate Canada, you need to get your ticket marketing and your sense of what fans want and need under control, because it's not good, especially, after the national championships in Calgary, to see an event put on that was so lackluster was so disappointing. That was the worst put together nationals I've seen literally ever in my entire life of watching figure skating. I could go back and watch nationals from the 1950s that were probably put on better than this. Like, it was bad. There was nobody there. There was no advertising. Nobody knew it was there. Tickets, again, were stupidly expensive. I think they were, like, $120 or something to go see. Like, who are you seeing? The men and women are, like, no offense to the skaters, but I mean, like, we're not at World Championship caliber here. We don't have 3 or 4 people like Japan and the United States that could like go and win a medal here. In both disciplines, we're gonna count our lucky stars that we can even finish in the top 12. Never mind win a medal for singles. I just think they're really out of touch with the skating community and families and how to market it properly and how to use marketing tools properly. Honestly, Skate Canada, you can hire me. I'll work for you. I just think you just really missed the mark. You had a great chance in Montreal, one of the nicest cities in the world, with a huge building. You could have had 20,000 people in that building if you would have marketed properly. Lithuania had 15,000 people in their building for pairs in Europe. That's saying a lot. And their advertising was heavy. They did a ton of advertising, a ton for families. But apparently Skate Canada can't figure that out. Well, on that positive note, I am done my spiel. And I hope you guys enjoyed listening. And we will see you next time. Thank you. Have a great night, you guys. Bye.